Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvi Navadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. May the Lord protect us both, teacher and taught together. May the Lord give us the results of this knowledge. May we attain vigor together. Let what we study be illuminating. May we not cavil at each other. Om, peace, peace, peace. All right. So we are studying the Katha Upanishad, and we are towards the end of the first section. This Upanishad, by the way, it has 2 chapters, and each chapter has 3 sections. So we are in the first chapter. First section is almost over. And it ends with Nachiketa repeating his question. You see, he had asked about the Atman. That was the third boon, or 3 boons he had been offered. The third boon he asked for was the secret of the Atman, our real nature. And Yama, instead of answering his questions, he tells him, he scares him by saying it's very difficult, it's very subtle, even the gods are puzzled about this. And then he tempts him with a wide range of offerings, wealth, long life, sensuous pleasures, heaven after death, children, grandchildren, all of that. Whatever a person could ask for, the entire list, Black Friday list, if you get all your demands fulfilled immediately. And he rejects, Nachiketa summarily rejects all of them. And then he repeats his question. By rejecting all that, he shows his qualification for Vedanta. When we enter Vedanta, we are asked for 4-fold qualifications: Viveka, Vairagya, the 6-fold treasures, and the Mumukshutvam, the discernment between the eternal and non-eternal, 1, the dispassion for the non-eternal, 2, and the 6 disciplines, which are called 6 treasures, basically control of body and mind, persistence, and so on. And then ultimately, the 4th one, Mumukshutvam, which means an intense desire to be free, an intense desire for spiritual liberation. And all that is demonstrated by Nachiketa. In his persistence, he shows his desire for freedom and his clear differentiation between the eternal verities and the offerings of this life or the next life, and the dispassion for worldliness or even otherworldliness. He wants just the truth. So having demonstrated his competence for Vedanta, Nachiketa repeats the question. We are on the 29th mantra. 29th mantra. Yasminnidam vichikitsanti mrityo yat samparaye mahati bruhinastat yoyam varo gudham anupravishto nanyam tasman nachiketa vrinite. O death, tell us of that thing about which people entertain doubt in the context of the next world, and whose knowledge leads to a great result. Apart from this boon, which relates to that inscrutable thing, Nachiketa does not pray for anything else. So having summarily rejected all of Yama's alternative offerings, he prays for Vedantic knowledge. And he says, tell me that thing which it's subtle, about which there is great mystery and confusion. That's one thing. But he says, Mahati, which leads to extraordinary result. This is something that is stressed in the Upanishads again and again. The reason why we should persist in this quest and try to attain enlightenment in this life is that it leads to extraordinary result. What is that extraordinary result? We know it is supposed to be moksha, freedom from the cycle of birth and death, spiritual liberation. What does that mean in the context of this life here, right now? It means that complete and utter fulfillment and the ability to transcend sorrow, to go beyond sorrow. That is the great result. It's the greatest possible result, what we are looking for. And he says, tell me that. And it's said, Nachiketa does not pray for anything else. So the Shankaracharya in his commentary says, this is the Upanishad speaking. So it's neither Yama nor Nachiketa. Upanishad says, look, Nachiketa does not want anything else. Only, you can say, enlightenment, God realization. Now we move on to the teachings of Yama. In the first mantra of the second section of first chapter. Anyat shreyo anyaduteva preya te ubhe nanarthe purusham sinita tayo shreya adadanasya sadhu bhavati ate arthadyau preyo vrinite. Translation. The preferable is different indeed, and so indeed is the pleasurable different. These two, serving divergent purposes as they do, bind men. Good befalls him who accepts the preferable amongst these two. He who selects the pleasurable falls from the true end. All right, it's a very profound statement. We'll go a little bit into this. But in general, what's going to happen now? For the next dozen or so mantras, Yama is not going to start teaching him about the Atman right away. We thought he's going to talk about pure consciousness, existence, consciousness, bliss, and the seer and the seen, and the three states of waking, dreaming, deep sleep. No. First, he makes a very big distinction about the choice of life. I think it's a really important distinction he's going to make now. This whole spiritual life, what is it? Distinguishing it from worldly life. What is truly a wise life? What is truly a spiritual life? He's going to talk about that. The importance of that, what it is. So he's going to talk about it and he's going to praise it now. And he's going to show the unique qualities of a true disciple. And incidentally, he will also mention the qualities of, or he'll praise the teacher or the acharya, the guru, and show the importance of this knowledge. But then basically what he's going to show is an important delineation, distinction between worldliness and spirituality. And this is very important on the verge of spiritual life. As we enter into spiritual life, and even if we have been in spiritual life for a long time, it's important to look back upon this. What exactly am I trying to do? And how is it different from what the masses are running after? What is this project that I've undertaken? It's not just true of Vedanta. Anybody who is seeking spirituality, this is a very clear distinction, which is going to be made now. And the Yama, the teacher, is telling Nachiketa, because of the choices that you have made. When did he make the choices? All the things that were offered, the entire range of pleasure and enjoyment was offered to him. And Nachiketa said, no, I want that. The knowledge about Atman, the knowledge about the ultimate reality. Then you have made your choice. What is this choice you have made? Not just Nachiketa, all of us. In fact, I'll say everybody who's present here has made that choice already. But it's good to know and know the difference between this and everything else that we have been doing all along and others are still doing all around us. So two terms have been introduced which are very important. This is true of spirituality everywhere. Shreyas and Preyas. Shreyas and Preyas. Shreyas is, by the way, a common name in India. Shreyas for boys and Shreyasi for girls. Shreyas and Preyas. What do they mean? As he has translated, he means the preferable and the pleasurable. Shreyas means that which is good, beneficial, ultimately good. Later on, Swami Gambhiranand, in another place, he translates as the electable and the delectable. that which is nice, pleasant, that is Preyas. And that which may not be nice and pleasant, it might be nice and pleasant, but may not be also. But it is good, which is ultimately beneficial for us, ultimately leads us to the goal of human life, the purpose of human life. That is Shreyas. What do they mean? What's the difference? One is the world, the other one is freedom from the world. One is the Shreyas is moksha, basically. What are the differences? Shreyas is moksha. Let me open the commentary. And prayas is samsara. What is the difference between Shreyas and prayas? Shreyas is moksha, prayas is samsara. There are two more words which you come across again and again in Vedanta. Abhyudaya, nishreyasa. Abhyudaya literally means rising up in the world, prosperity, well-being. Now there's a new term, wellness, in this world and in the next world. So they took the long view, not just wellness in this world. You must do well after this, after death. You know, do you have not only a plan for retirement, do you have a plan for post-mortem plan? Which heaven do you want to go to? Have you set aside your savings, your merits? Savings means not money, but your good works and merits, so that you are sure of getting a place in heaven. So all of that is prayas. The pleasant life. Pleasant life just doesn't mean just partying or leading a sensuous life or frivolous life. No, it could just mean a well-planned, good worldly life. You take care of your education, your job, your health, your family, your savings, finances, and plan out your expenses and vacations. Have a good time here and do your work for religion and community, so that you are assured of having a good time after death also. All of that put together is prayas. The other word for it is abhyudaya, prosperity, well-being in this world and the next. The other word for it is samsara. Samsara is in general making an effort to have a good life in samsara. That is the meaning. Whereas in contrast to this, Shreyas is moksha, liberation from this cycle of birth and death. Another name for Shreyas is nishreyas, complete Shreyas. Shreyas literally means what is good, what is high, noble, good. And Shreyas is the ultimate good. It is spiritual realization, moksha, liberation, nirvana, kaivalya. Many words are there for this. In fact, this Shreyas, moksha, was the entire project of the ancient Indian mind for thousands of years. I'm not just talking about Advaita Vedanta. Whether it is Dvaita Vedanta, Vishishtadvaita, whether it is Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, the various schools of Buddhism, the Jainas, all of them, in various ways, they all had this one ultimate goal, this Shreyas. It's something worth taking seriously. It's in this day and age, we have sort of forgotten that. It is sort of people, it's not available to young people. For young people, if they think about what can I do in life, everything that they can think of and what society teaches them, parents tell them, school teaches them, the world advertises and shows them day and night, all of that total, you take it all, it will all go into the prayas bucket, all of it. Some of it is awful, miserable, harmful. Some of it is good advice, but still worldly, this worldly. So that is prayas, the pleasant. And this distinction is making. He's saying, Anyat Shreya, Anyat Uteva Preya. The two are different. Shreyas and prayas are different. And they lead you to different goals. They bind you to different kinds of life. And the results are different. Different means they cannot be combined. It's an important thing to be understood. You can't have your feet on both boats. Don't worry about it. The world and family and bank balance and all will be around, but they will no longer be your goal. They cannot be your goal. You'll see very clearly that will not have any appeal for you anymore. So let's go a little bit deeper into this. Remember, both Shreyas and prayas come from the same human impulse. The impulse for satisfaction, fulfillment, and overcoming pain. One way of doing that is prayas. And another way, the wise way of doing that is Shreyas. What is the prayers? Let us first investigate a little deeply into this. Samsara, the pursuit of pleasure and trying to overcome suffering in this world as it seems to us, quite other than Vedanta or spirituality. It can take different levels. There can be different levels of that. One level is an instinctive desire to enjoy pleasures. So an almost animalistic and instinctive. So for example, an addict or somebody given to just pursuing pleasure in whatever form is available, the next drink or the next dose of drugs or something. That's the worst case. A little better than that might be, I want pleasure, I want success, I want money, I want to be rich, powerful, and enjoy life, and quite apart from any sense of values. So this kind of life is a life in pursuit of artha and kama. Artha and kama. Kama means just pleasure, pursuit of pleasure. And artha means, literally it means money, but it means earning your way in life, setting aside for a rainy day. It means success. It means getting educated, holding a responsible position. All of that, doing well in your life. All of that can be put under artha, including power and all of that. So just the pursuit of these two, this kind of life is called a vishayi, worldly life, but adharmic, without any basis in values. This is samsara, but it's the worst form of samsara. It leads to a lot of harm to oneself and a lot of harm to society also. There was a saying when I read an article when one of the Wall Street crash last time, 10 to 12 years ago. In Time magazine, there had an article that there was a saying among the players on Wall Street, YBG, IBG. You'll be gone, I'll be gone. You'll be gone, I will go. Let's just do it and make a few $1 million, and it'll ruin the financial system. It'll bring untold harm to, say, for example, many homeowners and so on. But doesn't matter. You'll be gone, I'll be gone. We'll make our money and go. Let the system collapse. And that's what actually happened. So a pursuit of wealth and pleasure, they usually go together without any reference to values. Now, this can be done in a much better, more sustainable, more wise way. That's where dharma comes in. Dharma in the sense of morals, ethics, decency. So most people in society are not that YBG, IBG type of people. Most people, they are and they would consider themselves to be decent people. So we all have a sense of values. We all have a sense of that I am a good person. This is what I would not do. I would not go below that level. So an ethical life, moral life, that is called also vishayi, worldly life, but dharmika vishayi. Dharmika vishayi. A worldly person, but the goals are still worldly, but within the limits of morals, within the limits of ethics. And in the ancient times, this dharmika vishayi also was a religious person, a devout person. But the goal was, I will do well here, and because of my good works, I will go to heaven afterwards. And it's a temporary heaven, remember. So I'll be assured of doing well in this cycle of birth and death. But it took a long view, not just one life, multiple lives. I will do well. It seems to be a pretty good thing, actually. But it perpetuates samsara. One still is caught in this cycle of birth and death. Now, I was just thinking, take a look at positive psychology. Martin Seligman, who can be legitimately called the father of modern positive psychology, he studied happiness. One succinct way of putting his ideas about happiness is happiness H is equal to P plus E plus M. P is pleasure, E is engagement, M is meaning, a meaningful life. So his idea was that, or his findings were, if you want fulfillment in life, you need these three in life. First, the usual place where we look for happiness, immature minds especially, jump into look for happiness, eat something nice, go and watch a movie, hang out with friends. This is called pleasure, P. And it does give happiness. So pleasure and happiness are not the same thing. But pleasure does give happiness. Sense pleasure, for example, or pleasure of good company. It gives happiness, but the happiness it gives has many problems. One is it's strictly limited. It comes and goes. It's just matter of moments or minutes. Then you have to repeat it all over again. It's gone. The second problem is this happiness is constitutionally dissatisfying. By that, what I mean is you go out and purchase things, Black Friday, with great hope and great energy. A lot of energy is required. People will queue up like anything. And then you come back with a shopping load full of things, but you are bound to be a little let down. You don't get that kind of shopping euphoria, nirvanic bliss out of the shopping. You were expecting at least the amount of energy and the joy with which you went there. No, you don't get up to that level. You see here, Robert Wright, who wrote the book Why Buddhism is True, and he's written a number of other books. He's a neo-Darwinian evolutionary psychologist. I mean, he propounds that. He's a science writer, basically, and a public intellectual. He has written a book like a book on evolutionary psychology, the moral animal. I think that was one of his books, and then the one which I liked was about God, the evolution of God. But his most recent book, a very nice book on why Buddhism is true. There he says, notice all the things which promise pleasure to us, sense enjoyments, eating food, or anything that promises pleasure to us. Notice that when we do it, we do not seem to get the kind of pleasure that was promised to us. That seemed, I'll be very happy if I eat this, if I watch this movie or have this enjoyment, I'll be very, very happy. At the end of it, you are not that very, very happy. You get something, but much less than that. And he says, this makes perfect sense from an evolutionary standpoint. Makes perfect sense from an evolutionary standpoint. Why? Nature has programmed us to seek those pleasures, the pleasure of eating, pleasure of reproduction, pleasure of human company, all of those things. Why? Because that's how nature works. Nature wants you to do that. Nature wants you to survive and reproduce. But nature also does not want you to be too happy. It will promise a lot of happiness. You go into it, you don't get as much or much less than what you expected. And that's exactly what nature wants, so that you will try again. Nature doesn't want you to eat once, have one child, or hang out once in a group of people. No, it wants you to socialize and reproduce and eat and survive, and to keep doing it as long as you're alive. So it's like a treadmill. Or he compares it to Las Vegas, the games, the gambling games there. It's not that you don't win. You do win sometimes. You win just enough to make you try again. So nature has programmed you like that, and that's absolutely by design, which also means all those promises are hollow. You as a conscious being, if you get on the treadmill of desire, you're guaranteed to be disappointed, because it has been designed in that way. It's designed to disappoint you, designed to make you do it, keep doing it. The beneficiary is nature, but not you, not us. So he points that out. So that's one of the defects of that pleasure component, that it is inherently dissatisfying. We want more of it afterwards to get the same level of satisfaction, or more varieties of it. And that's how economics works. That's how a late capitalist society works. More and more of this, you get more, you drive the economy. And this is how pleasure works. So he says that unfortunately, you get very little happiness out of pleasure. Next, he says, luckily, there's another option. Engagement. Achieve something. Go do a job. Get a degree. Do a job. Earn money. Start a business. You engage in something. Or even take up a hobby. Something that challenges you. This is the difference between pleasure and engagement. This is Martin Seligman. The difference between pleasure and engagement is one is passive, the other one is active. For example, if you lie down on your couch and watch a sports game on TV, that is pleasure. But if you get up and go outside and play the game, some game you play, that is engagement. You are actually actively engaging in that. And he says engagement, whether it's a job, career, or it is your a hobby, whatever it is, it gives more happiness than pleasure. Engagement gives more happiness than pleasure. That's his take on this. So you have pleasure, little bit of happiness, but if you want more happiness, more lasting happiness, you find something to be engaged in, something that you like. You are very lucky if you have a job which you like. When you're doing this job and you like doing it, that's engagement. That is the happiness coming from engagement. And then he says there is an even higher level of happiness, more stable, more deep, which comes from having a meaningful life. This is meaningful life. It does not go into spirituality. Meaningful life might be, for example, where you help others, you are doing something for others, many others are benefiting from your life. That's why, for example, families, you automatically get a little bit of that. The moment you become a mother or a father, you know this much at least, that this 1 or 2 or 3 people at least will benefit from what I am doing. So you get some meaning in life there. Meaningful life. But it has to be much larger than that. Very soon, that is not enough for any person. It has to go beyond that into the community or larger. Or one can have a meaningful life in, art, writing a book or scientific research. That also can give you meaningful life. So these are the 3 components. And his advice is, don't try to get happiness from pleasure. It is not worth the effort. You will get very little. Engagement is a good thing to look for, and meaningful life, if you are lucky enough and careful enough to find and sustain it, that's the best thing. All right. Why am I saying all this? There's a point to it. If you take all these 3, you notice how quickly it maps onto the traditional scheme of dharma, artha, kama, moksha. In Hinduism or in Indian system of values, what are the goals that, not what we should pursue, we pursue this. It's a fact in life. Whatever you're doing in life, you're pursuing one of these 4. First, kama, it matches pleasure exactly. Kama means pleasure, the search for pleasure, sensuous pleasure basically, but matches pleasure. Then artha, job, money, success, it sort of matches engagement. And dharma, you can sort of force fit meaningful life into dharma. So these 3, dharma, artha, kama, the pursuit of dharma, artha, kama, or in modern terms, happiness, engagement, meaningful life. Why am I saying all of this? All of this is firmly in the basket of prayas. This is prayas. The pleasurable, the attractive, the delectable, the nice life, even the good life, still samsara. If you just pursue pleasure, you're guaranteeing a hellish samsara. If you pursue pleasure plus engagement plus meaning, you're guaranteeing a heavenly samsara, but still samsara. You're perpetuating samsara. You're still caught in the cycle. As distinguished from this, now going beyond the paradigm of Seligman or even Maslow and others, though Maslow has indicated something beyond self-actualization. So you come to freedom from this samsara, which is Shreyas, moksha. All these Indian philosophies, Vedanta, all of them, from most ancient times, they proclaim that it is possible to attain true fulfillment in human life, lasting, deep fulfillment, and possible to be secure against suffering. I like that definition by Wittgenstein. He says, religion is the quest for ultimate security. Security against what? Security against suffering. So that is moksha. That is nirvana, kaivalya. Many, many ancient words for it. Okay. Now again, let's take another pass at this Shreyas Prayas thing. Look at the Vedas. The Vedas are firmly divided into Shreyas and Prayas. The entire ritualistic corpus of the Vedas, where the various, what Nachiketa asked for in the first boon and the second boon, both are prayers. Various rituals which are prescribed there in the Vedas. What are they for? They are for, getting good crops, rainfall, plenty of wealth, defeating your enemies, getting children, going to heaven after death. All of this is prayers. the sweet life, the delectable life, the attractive life. So it's sweet and delectable and attractive. What's wrong then? As I said, all of it is vitiated by problems. They're impermanent, ultimately dissatisfying. They are addictive. The more and more you satisfy these pleasures, more desires, the more and more you will want of it. And yet they are not fulfilling at all. Sri Ramakrishna put it this way: collecting a bunch of zeros. And that is what is there in prayers. You're looking for that one. That is Shreyas. It's in Sri Ramakrishna's language. In the Vedas, all the karma kanda, all the ritualistic portions are meant for prayers. Notice, it is religion. If you are a Vedic ritualistic person, that's your religion. And so it's not being condemned. It's, if you're going to be in samsara, it's much better to be a moral person, much better to be a devout person and lead an ethically sustainable life instead of just desperately chasing pleasure and wealth. The Upanishadic portion, like Katha Upanishad, what is called the Jnana Kanda, the knowledge portion, is firmly in the camp of, in the basket of Shreyas, moksha. So this distinction, dharma, artha, kama are karma kanda, ritualistic portion. They are prayers. They are samsara, good samsara, but samsara. And they are vitiated by limitedness, dissatisfactoriness, and the perpetuation of suffering. And the Upanishadic portion is prayers, is Shreyas, is moksha, spiritual liberation, and there it is, the path. There are two paths. So now the path of karma is prayers, and the path of knowledge is Shreyas. By the path of karma, I don't mean karma yoga. I mean the path of action in the world, the law of karma. The law of karma is, when you're caught in that, you're setting in motion powerful forces, karmic forces. And if you do it wisely, you will generate good karma and you'll have a better life in this world and the next. If you do it unwisely, you'll generate bad karma and have a nasty life in this world and the next. But that is the way of karma, not karma yoga. That'll come, that's different. On the other hand, here is the spiritual path. The spiritual path, the Upanishadic path, the Vedantic path, or all kinds of spirituality, which takes you to moksha. There comes, it's the path of knowledge. In Advaita Vedanta, we'll call it path of knowledge. But karma yoga is also part of it. Bhakti yoga is part of it. Raja yoga is part of it. All of it is designed to take you to spiritual liberation. So they are two different paths. They cannot be combined, like light and darkness. Okay, one more distinction. This is very powerful and stark. The path of prayas, samsara, is avidya, ignorance. The path of Shreyas, moksha, is vidya, the path of knowledge. The two cannot be combined. If one begins to understand what samsara is and what moksha is, you will choose moksha. There's no other way. Notice some intelligent people who are atheistic, who keep on denying religion, spirituality, they make a point of debunking and denying spirituality or religion because they know that somewhere deep inside, they know that to be entirely devoted to this world, this worldly life, you need to deny these things. They know in their heart that these are two different paths. And this path, the higher path of spirituality, has to be proved to be false in order for me to fully enjoy this world. That's a sign of intelligence, actually. They don't realize it, but in their heart of hearts, see, otherwise, if a person just wanted to have a good time in this world, you could just ignore. People in the world ignore so many things. If you want to have a good time in this world, you want to party and enjoy life, what about quantum mechanics? You would say, I'm not interested. It doesn't make any difference to me. Similarly, about spiritual life, you could say, I'm not interested. It doesn't make any difference to me. I'll enjoy this. No, an intelligent person who is given to worldly enjoyments will make it a point to deny the reality of spirituality, because they are two opposite paths. To choose one, you are automatically denying the other one. Sri Ramakrishna would say That don't worry about trying to give up the world, to move towards God. You will automatically move away from the world. You put a positive spin on it. Go towards spiritual life, the world will drop away from you. Not physically, again, don't worry. Everything will be there, but that's not your goal anymore. What else do I want to say? Let me see. Something from the commentary. It says, Te ubhe nanarthe purusham sinita. These two paths, in two different directions, they bind you. Samsara obviously binds you in the cycle of birth and death. And the spiritual path also, in a good sense, it binds you, means it engages you in the spiritual pursuit. It's a path with a definite goal of liberation from samsara. That's why when people read Vedanta, sometimes they ask, oh, so I am Brahman, then I need not do any, why should I do spiritual practices? Then I don't need to do anything. You may say that, but do you really feel that? If you really feel that you are in suffering, you are there, you have not transcended worldliness, you have not realized the ultimate, just saying I'm Brahman won't help anyway. So you have to walk this path. You are equally engaged in a particular path. Just as the worldly person is engaged in a particular path, in worldliness, they have to accumulate money, they have, basically at its root, they have to do good karma in order to enjoy the world and avoid bad karma. Similarly, the rest of us, those of us who have elected to take the spiritual path, we also have to be engaged, not in trying to do good karma in order to enjoy the world, but in trying to do spiritual practice. We have to do karma yoga, not the law of karma type of karma yoga, bhakti yoga, raja yoga, jnana yoga, and fill our lives with these practices. If you're on path of Advaita Vedanta, central will be jnana yoga, others will be peripheral, karma yoga, bhakti yoga, raja yoga. Central will be jnana yoga. So there are two different paths. This has to be realized. That's why such a big distinction was made between householder path and monastic path. The monastics were entirely on this path of this Shreyas, and the householders were supposed to be on the path of prayers. But then again, this distinction ultimately is not helpful, because the householder too can want moksha. There have been any number of examples of enlightened householders. You cannot ignore it. In every tradition, it is there. So it's not so much a formality of who is wearing what dress, or is staying in a house or an apartment or an ashram. No, it is more your decision. He says, he will come now. Tayo Shreya Adadanasya Sadhu Bhavati. Of these two, the one who chooses, look, here it is left to your free will. Here is left to your choice, but it must be a distinct choice. One who chooses the spiritual path, he comes to good. Sadhu Bhavati means he attains the good. He attains the praiseworthy. That person attains the highest. Then, Yau Preyo Vrinite, Hiyate Arthad. The one who selects the pleasurable, that person falls away from the goal. Here it just says Artha, but then money is also a goal, pleasure is also a goal, dharma is also a goal. Here he means moksha, falls away from the ultimate goal of human life. Moksha is the ultimate goal of human life. That person falls away, who consistently selects the pleasurable over what is good. Here, I'll just make one more point from positive psychology. You see, here, the commentator says, who is the one who selects the good and who selects the pleasurable? The one who selects the pleasurable, the commentator Shankaracharya says, Aduradarshi. The one who is not a long seer, far-sighted. What does that mean? It's very interesting. It's not just for spiritual life, just even for success in worldly life. What is necessary? For this is something interesting I had read many years ago, the experiments of Walter Mischel, and they were repeated by Philip Zimbardo. In fact, anybody who studied psychology, you would have studied the classic textbook of psychology written by Zimbardo. Zimbardo's psychology textbook has, I think, run into dozen editions, 15 or 16 editions. So many of us have heard of the experiment. I'll just repeat it quickly and then go ahead. The general outline of the experiment was many years ago. Walter Mischel, I think, was in Princeton or Yale or somewhere here. He did this experiment with 4-year-old kids. Why 4-year-old? Before 4 years old, they did not have the cognitive capacities to listen and reason it out and exercise their will. After that, it becomes a little more complicated as the thinking becomes more sophisticated. So 4-year, 5-year-old kids. What Walter Mischel did was he asked the child to come into the room and ask the child that, do you want actually you can see this experiment, not Walter Mischel's original experiment, but Zimbardo's experiment. This is very cute videos available on YouTube. So I can tell you that experiment. So the psychologist asks the child to come in and tells the child that, first of all, distracts the child with some question, this thing and that thing, and then, as if offering a reward, but that's the real experiment, offers the child a marshmallow. Now, I had spoken about this experiment in India to IIT students, but at that time, I didn't even know what was a marshmallow. I'd never seen one in my life. It's only after coming to the United States, I saw what a marshmallow was and ate one. But he offers the child a marshmallow and says, you can eat it now, but would you want to? Every child says, yes, I want to. In that case, just wait a while. I'll go outside. Here's the marshmallow in front of you. Don't eat it now. I'll come back and then you can, I'll give you 2. I'll give you 1 more if you have not eaten it. If you eat it, that's it. Then you will not get the second one. So you'll get this marshmallow anyway. And the second one you'll get if you wait a little bit. And every child, this is important, every kid, if you see in the experiment, it's very funny. Every kid agrees immediately. I'll wait. I'll have 2. And they don't know that they're being recorded. And the psychologist leaves the room. And you can see the videos. They're very funny. The children, now for a little child, even waiting 10 minutes is a long time, especially if he has a delicious marshmallow in front of the child. So some of the children straight away eat it. That said, they won't eat it, but they straight away eat it and they don't get the second marshmallow. Some of the children, they wait. And those videos are very funny. A little boy or girl looking plaintively at the door. When will the psychologist come back? Or they distract themselves. They play little games or something or the other. So all instinctive in order to avoid the temptation of looking at the marshmallow. Some of them fail. They look at the marshmallow and eat it. Some of them succeed. They wait and then they get the second marshmallow. Now, what is important about this little experiment? Walter Mischel and later on Philip Zimbardo also, they divided these 2 groups of children into 2 groups without telling them, just on paper. Then they followed their career. They went back some 14 years. Mischel did that. 14 years later, when the kids were about to go to come out of high school, go to college, they found significant differences between these 2 groups. The group which could not withstand the temptation and those kids who withstood the temptation. Those kids who withstood the temptation, they were able to, they were better at studies. Their SAT scores were significantly higher. They socialized better. They were seen as more dependable by parents and teachers, and they were liked better by their classmates. Those who could not restrain themselves turned out to be more impulsive, not completing the assignments, going off on a party and being easily distracted in many ways. And clear differences emerged over 14 years. And these differences are only going to get wider and larger as they go into life, into jobs and all, into marriages and all. It will be bigger and bigger differences. So this ability to control one's impulse, this was later worked by who wrote that book on EQ, emotional intelligence, the famous psychologist who designed the term, Daniel Goleman, yes. Daniel Goleman, he incorporated this into this idea of control of impulses. So that is part of emotional intelligence, the ability to withhold gratification, to postpone gratification. All of us face this, that if I put in a little more effort, if I stop enjoying, like little pleasures in life and put in the effort in my studies or in my exercise or whatever it is, I will get huge benefits in few years, but postponed. That much discipline. Now, why I'm saying all this, one reason is Philip Zimbardo, he says, what the message he takes is, He says that some children have this ability to see into the future, as it were. Some are present oriented. Some can, as it were, see into the future means not anything ESP or nothing like that. It's just that the reward available in the future is real for them. Whereas the other kids who are impulsive, what is the marshmallow and present in front of them? That's the only reality. The the second marshmallow is too vague and not attractive enough. So they give in to the present temptation. The future achievement is not so attractive or real. They don't have the discipline or the grit to hold on till they get that result. And I was amazed to see the difference between those who select the pleasurable and those who select that which is good and beneficial. Shankaracharya, commentator, says those who see into the future, those who cannot see into the future, or they cannot make it real enough. In Sanskrit, he just uses one word, aduradarshi vimudha, fooled, deluded, because unable to see the consequences of what's going to happen. And this is true. Philip Dimbardo is not talking about, Walter Mischel is not talking about enlightenment, God realization. No. He says for success in this life, which is very much part of what one might call an enlightened prayas, a better samsara. So one thing which makes for a better samsara is this ability, this emotional intelligence. They generally can design a better life. Generally, there are many other factors. This is one point I wanted to make. So this is an important verse. What is true of trying to make a better life for yourself in this world, the discipline it takes to complete a degree, the discipline it takes to raise a family, the discipline it takes to hold a job, all of those things require a certain degree of discipline and self-control. And in spiritual life, much more so. So in spiritual life, if you want Shreyas, this quality of seeing into the future that I will get enlightenment and that will solve all of my problems, and that's real. It's a great blessing if one can think in that way. Then one will pursue this path, spiritual life. So this verse this mantra is very important. Anyat Shreya, Anyat Utaiva Preya. The pleasurable and the good are different. They put you on different paths. The difference may not be so noticeable at the beginning. 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, 50 years down the line, the one who has walked on the path of spirituality, the one who has immersed himself or herself in worldliness, the difference will become very big. It will become very big. In one lifetime itself, it becomes very big. Dayo Shreya Adadanasya, the one who selects. So conscious decision to select spiritual life. They reach the goal of human life, which is moksha. In general, also you can take this advice. Those who do not do, those who keep on going in for the pleasurable, it literally says they miss the goal. You can see, even say they miss worldly goals also. The one who gives in to pleasure seeking will miss worldly goals, will not complete assignments on time, will not do the job on time, cannot hold on to a job, cannot runs away from family responsibilities. Every kind of problem will hound the person who keeps on selecting the pleasurable over what is good, and somebody put it this way, that the difference between that which is desired and that which is desirable in the sense of good for your life. And desired means our senses, our mind, our samskaras keep on wanting. Then the next mantra. Shreyascha preyascha manushyameta tau samparitya vivinakti dhira shreyo hi dhiro abhipreyaso vrinite preyo mando yogakshemad vrinite. The question is, okay, let me translate first. The preferable and the pleasurable both approach man. The man of intelligence, having considered them, separates the two. The intelligent one selects the electable in preference to the delectable. Here it is. The non-intelligent one selects the delectable for the sake of the growth and protection of the body, etc. Okay, so what is this about? If you say the one who chooses the good over the pleasurable, then people should choose that. But why don't more people choose the spiritual path? Why do most people choose the path of prayas, not of shreyas, the path of worldliness, not of spirituality? The commentator asks this. Why do people cling mostly to the pleasurable only? So that is being answered. The first thing he says, both come to you. The pleasurable and the good, they come to you. The worldly and the spiritual. When do they come? All the time. They're coming to us. And this power of choice we have to make a choice. When, not only once, I decide my goal is God realization. My goal is not pursuit of wealth and power and pleasure in the world. How many times do you have to decide? Not once. Once, twice, thrice, every day. Moment to moment. So all the time. Get up in the morning. Early morning, I have to get up and meditate. Should I get up? Oh, it's too cold. Let me stay in the comfort of the blanket. That is prayers. No, let me jump out of the bed or out of the comfort of the blanket and wash my face and and get ready and go to meditate. That is shreyas. They had made a decision. One of our senior monks used to say, the worst is to lie in the bed and think, should I get up now, a little sleep, a little more? He says, either go back to sleep or jump out of bed. That lie down there and this tamasic. Holy company is good that way. I mean, it becomes much easier even for an average ordinary person if everybody else around you is doing it. So that's why it's good to set good standards in families, and that's why there's an ashram. Difficult to get up. Well, I also thought, how will I get up at 3:40 in the morning? But it was so easy. Everybody is doing it. You cannot sleep. You will feel guilty and ashamed if you are the only person left in the monastery and everybody's got up and gone for meditation. No. So like the ashram, in the family also. If you set certain high standards, it will benefit everybody. Don't force. Sometimes spiritual people can become very preachy people and that annoying other people. You can show by example. Then they approach both. Samparitya vivinakti dhira. The spiritual seeker considers them well. Not all the time, had considered at least once in life and has considered them well and knows the limitation, like Nachiketa. Whatever the range of pleasures, pleasurable things offered, prayers, Nachiketa knows, I don't want any of it. He wants only the shreyas. I remember this little example. In Belur Mutt in summer, it's very hot. So a very cool drink of yogurt and some spices and all, a very nice drink is offered to Sri Ramakrishna in the afternoon when it is hottest. So it's a bit like lassi, but much thicker. And then prasad, obviously. So the monks get it by turn. And it's eagerly awaited because it's very nice. And you get it once a year, half a glass once a year, if you are a monk in Belur Mutt. Now, there's a story that once a young monk took it to Swami Turiyananda in those days, in the early days of the order. It was his turn. The Sri Ramakrishna's disciple Turiyananda, who was very disciplined, very austere, very Vedantic. So took it to him. Swami, this is your turn. You have the offered prasad from Sri Ramakrishna, this lassi or this yogurt drink. So Swami took a sip and said, you take it away. And then this monk asked, isn't it good? Wasn't it nice? He said, yes, it was nice. That's why I take it away. So that is the rejection of the prayers. Oh, the tongue likes it. No. Now that's maybe too much, but it's a good, all of these things that these direct disciples did was a good example for setting an example for everybody. Take what is necessary for the body. Eat to live, not live to eat. Eat to live is shreyas. Live to eat, prayas. So considering well, samparitya. It is not out of some fanaticism, not out of just unthinking way, well thought out. Then dhira means the spiritual seeker, the spiritual hero who is seeking enlightenment. Vivinakti, it's an important word. This is the word from which, the root from which Viveka comes. The discernment between eternal and non-eternal. You know what it means? Separation. He separates. In his mind, he separates. This will lead me down this route. That will lead me to this route. Which one do I want? Sri Ramakrishna used to say, I'll tell you in Bengali and then translate. Very nice phrase. He says, Chinite balite mishe ache, pipre alada korte pare. Sand and sugar are mixed. The ant can separate them. Dudhe jole mishe ache, hash alada korte pare. Milk and water are mixed, and it is said that a swan can separate them. A swan can drink that and leave the water aside and drink the milk, it says. There's a belief like that. So the swan can separate milk and water. They're mixed. The last one is impossible to translate. In Bengali, he says, Golmale mal ache, malti law, golti bad diye dao. So in Golmal goal means chaos, and mal here would mean truth or essence. In the midst of this chaos of samsara, the truth is there. The ultimate reality is right here. Leave this chaos aside, leave this samsara aside, and extract the ultimate reality. So I'm making it very philosophical. He just says in colloquial Bengali. It translates well into Hindi and Indian languages also, but not into English. It lacks that punch. Just like the swan separates milk and water. And I was so happy to find Shankaracharya, 1200 years, 1300 years ago, he says, separates the two. What does it mean? He says, Nirakshiravati, like water and milk. You separate that which is preferable and that which is pleasurable. And then the spiritual seeker will select the preferable, the one which will lead him to God, and leave aside the other one. And it says manda. Manda means the inferior one, the one who's given to worldliness. Worldliness, the worldly person will instinctively. The worldly person does not consider it well. The spiritual seeker has considered it well, thought it through. That these are the things: more money, better apartment, better gadgets, relationships, and all of this, I have seen it through. And therefore, I don't want. I have seen this in this life or the past life, and I don't want any of this. Therefore, I select the spiritual path. The other one who selects the pleasurable path, the worldly path, does not select it after thinking it through. It just automatically selects it. Why? Yoga Kshemat Vrinite. Because here Yoga Kshema is a word you find in Gita also. Yoga Kshema, yoga means joining, acquisition. Kshema means preserving, protecting. I want more, acquire more money, more property, husband, wife, children, acquire more and more and more. That is yoga. And Kshema, maintain it, preserve the property and the money and the gadgets and all of that. Take care of the family. And so all of this is yoga kshema. This is samsara. If you look around, people are doing just this. Unless they're little kids or teenagers going away for a party, most people are engaged in acquisition and preservation. The world around us is acquisition and preservation. Gita, so what do we do? Here, Upanishad is very clear. Don't go in for this acquisition, preservation. Look for enlightenment. And everything, when it comes to you, this is about acquisition, preservation, this is enlightenment. Choose this one. But we say we are poor human beings. We have commitments in the world. You, Swami, you also have to run an ashram. You cannot say acquisition, preservation, you have to give it up. Won't you preserve the ashram? When won't you collect donations for the ashram? A householder has to earn money, take care of the family. So what about this acquisition, preservation, yoga kshema? It cannot be ignored, even if you're a spiritual seeker. Then what? Gita offers the solution. Krishna says to Arjuna, yoga kshema vahamyaham. I shall, if you are constantly devoted to God realization, if you are a spiritual person, don't worry about your life. I'll take care of you. What a great assurance. So I won't go to a job. Will Krishna turn up and do my job for me? No. If you are of that category where you are immersed in samadhi, then Krishna will do it for you. No harm will come to you. But you can't say that I'm going to relax in my bed and sleep a few hours more because Krishna is going to go and do my job for me. No, then Krishna won't do your job for you. But you need not worry about your worldly possessions and affairs. God will protect you and take care of you. What a great assurance. You pursue God realization. That is the goal of human life. The other things God will. See, we are not satisfied with that because we have strong desires about that. I want that little bit more achievement, more money, more Facebook likes, or whatever it is. And that I will try to get. I can't leave it to God. And then you are in the path of prayas, samsara. So Krishna says, Yoga Kshema Vahamya. By the way, those who are from India, the biggest insurance corporation in India, life insurance corporation, their motto is Yoga Kshema Vahamyaham. I shall take care of your acquisition and protection. So they've taken it from the Gita. It is God who does that for the spiritual seeker. If you're not a spiritual seeker, then your acquisition and preservation is up to you. You have to engage in karma. Then you're on the path of karma. Not karma yoga, karma, cause and effect, good karma, bad karma, papa and punya, merit and demerit. You're on the track to heaven or hell. That is samsara. Yoga Kshema, he says, because of Yoga Kshema, the inferior one, the worldly one, manda means inferior one, worldly one, pursues the path of worldliness. Now, if that person does it in a wise way, following the discoveries of, if no one else, at least Walter Mischel and Philip Zimbardo, then he'll be a wise samsari, will be a dependable person, good for the world and the next world, but will not achieve enlightenment or spirituality. A spiritual person, you're good. You are on the fast track to enlightenment. At the same time, your worldly affairs are protected. But protected means God, Sri Ramakrishna also said, when Swami Vivekananda kept on pestering Sri Ramakrishna, the story that please ask Mother Kali that so that my family does not suffer for want of, money and food and all of that. His father had died. He couldn't get a job. It was dire straits. His family was. So Sri Ramakrishna said, why don't you go and ask Kali? And he said, oh, she listens to you. So you ask for me. Sri Ramakrishna said, you go and ask. And he couldn't ask. You see, this is a classic example of Shreya and Preya. You know the story? Sri Ramakrishna sent Vivekananda to the temple of Kali. Go and ask for money for your family. This is a good day. It's a day of the night of the Divine Mother. So he went. But it was such a vivid presence of like a radiant presence of the Divine Mother. He asked for knowledge and devotion and dispassion and came back overwhelmed. Sri Ramakrishna asked him, what did you say? I saw this. And then I asked for knowledge and devotion and dispassion. Sri Ramakrishna said, oh, that's all right. But did you ask for money? And he said, no, I forgot. He said, what a fool. Go back. There's still time. He went back. The second time, the same thing happened. He came back and said, I asked for devotion. I asked for knowledge. Oh, what a fool. There's still yet time. You go again. Third time, he said, this third time, the same thing happened. And Sri Ramakrishna was, of course, very pleased. This is exactly like Yama and Nachiketa. Are you going to select? What are you going to ask for? I guarantee you, if you go to this temple of the Divine Mother of the Universe, what you ask for this one time, you're bound to get. Let's see what you ask for. And here is your guru giving you permission to ask for worldly things also. And in fact, telling you, go ask for money. When he couldn't do that, and then he said to Sri Ramakrishna, I know this is your play. You are doing this on purpose. Sri Ramakrishna finally, he also made a significant remark. He said, don't worry. Your family will not lack plain food and clothing. Now notice, plain food and clothing. He didn't say your family will become millionaires. So when the Lord says, I will take care of your Shreya and Preya, I'll take care of your yoga and kshema, your acquisition and preservation of whatever you have in the world. I'll take care of that. What he means is, you will not suffer in the worldly sense. But you're not going to get an apartment in the billionaires row. You said, Lord, you wanted me to worship you. And then you said you would take care of my worldly affairs. Why am I in that little apartment, in Hell's Kitchen or somewhere? Why not on the billionaires row? No, the Lord has not promised that. And if the Lord promised it, that in Hindi they say garbad. That's asking for trouble. So this verse says, both of them approach you. When? All the time. The spiritual seeker, considering the demerits of the worldly path, makes a decision after decision after decision, continuous process, that I will have this, not that. And the worldly person, because he's engaged in acquisition and preservation, makes a decision, automatically instinctively chooses worldly things, not spirituality. You see, when you're threatened, somebody told me at the beginning of the COVID crisis last year, at this time, you have to think about Vedanta and philosophy and metaphysics. When you are threatened like this, see, this is the distinction. At this time, you will catch hold of God even more. I'm not saying only Vedanta. It could be devotional. It could be your Ishta Devata. The truly spiritual person will catch hold of God in time of crisis. The not spiritual person, the one who is on the path of prayers, will instinctively look for some worldly support. I noticed one thing about Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother. Whenever they were in trouble, they had something to say, they would tell it to the Divine Mother first, not to any human person. First to God. Okay, let's stop here. Let me see. Oh, we have gone well over time, so I won't take any question, but let's quickly see the questions. I'll take up this theme next time and then continue. Kiran says, when we do prayers, rituals, help others, do not offer the results to God, that is prayers? Yes. The result should be offered to God. When you have a sankalpa, let this be done for curing the illness of this person, getting a job for that person, whatever it is, or for the welfare of my family in general. No, for the welfare of the world, I'm doing it for the Ishvara Prithiyartham, for the pleasure or the joy of Ishvara, of God. That is Karma Yoga. That is the kind of prayers we should do. Alpana says, how to differentiate between mind justifying due to laziness and intellect understanding the oneness with Brahman. The intellect understanding oneness with Brahman, redundancy of meditation. The intellect understanding one with Brahman would be most happy to stay in a meditative state, enjoying that oneness with Brahman. Right? It will not rush out into worldly activities. Oh, I've realized I'm one with Brahman. Now let me go to a party. No. If you see the lives of enlightened ones, whether Sri Ramakrishna, Totapuri, Ramana Maharshi, how meditative and inward they were. Not trying to realize something. They've already found it. And it is so wonderful. They want to be there all the time. Sangeeta says, in the context of study, the reason Swami Vivekananda could not ask for anything else at that moment of Kali can be attributed to what besides Thakur's Lila? That he was a Nitya Siddha. Yes, that he was a Nitya Siddha, and because he was truly a spiritual seeker. He was on the path of Shreyas. Vivekananda was on the path of Shreyas. This demonstrates, just like Nachiketa, the path of Shreyas. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.